Ladies and gentlemen, YouTubers around the world, welcome back to another episode of the Deep Desert Diaries. In this episode, we're going to be starting off with our favorite maneuver, the solo spy shotgun. But in this particular case, we are trying to get the worm again to eat this guy's copter. You see the other players have already taken off in fear of us, but we're going to have a difficult time getting this worm to do what we want him to do. As you can see here, kind of a close one. The worm seems to be acting a bit oddly, as you can see. He's jumping out of the ground, then he's disappearing, and then he's, coming back. Once again, we're really trying to pull this worm in, but we're a bit scared here. Obviously, we don't want to get eaten by the worm ourselves, of course. But just really struggling. So we finally decided we're going to stand behind the copter. We're going to aggro the worm, and we're just going to take off last second. But the worm comes charging in, and we barely make it out. I think I even flew the wrong direction there. Kind of forgot I had my storage on as well. And that was a real close call, guys. Probably one of the closest I've had. But that was fun. That's what it's all about for the content, right? Clips for the content. Now, it's Monday evening. It's time for the Coriolis Storm. But we have spotted some players in one of the research labs. This is the Steady Assault Research Lab from last week. It is, the last chance to get your loot. But I've realized there's a player in here, and in fact there are two. I've set up my gear, my equipment to deal with them though. We see this player has a shield down, we put a rocket in him, and then the heavies are kind enough to get the knock for us to finish him. Now we believe there's two players from what we saw with our scanner, so we're still kind of buying time, trying to figure out where this other player might be. Fortunately for us, it seems that this pair are not the most experienced in the labs, so 1v2ing them, maybe not the hardest thing to do, right? Players trying to escape us. The biggest problem here is really the mobs. I think I come up here thinking I'll be able to line of sight them or get away and figure out where this player is, how to best ambush him. But these mobs are just shooting at me regardless of, hiding on the pipes up here, and they actually break my shields. And I'm actually going down, so a slight mistake here. Good thing to know though, these pipes aren't very effective. Also not the best sugar wire, but we make it behind the pillar. And we start running. Unfortunately, these players, like I said, they're not really paying too much attention to what's going on with me. They're just trying to escape themselves. We finally encounter one of them, but he tries to melee me through the rushers. We do find that there's a Regis repeater rifle and some plastinium dust on one of these bodies. Kind of a risky check, but I felt like these players, it wasn't going to be too much of a problem. I'm probably coming out of here with the loot, I assume, at this point, after what I've seen so far, but you never know. So this player is already burning. Get a few chops in. We get hit too though, lose all our stamina. Unfortunately, this would be a good time to pull out the shotgun, I think. I wasn't doing that in this run. Not really the best play for me. Definitely when you're low on stamina, I think pulling out the ranged weapon makes sense. Also, I don't recommend doing what I just did there. The sugar wire on the player increases its cooldown by a lot more than when you use it on terrain. So don't do that. That's also not good. That's a mistake. We also we set up our toolbar to use this grenade. That's not actually the great grenade we intended to use, but it's nice to test. You'll see that come into play later. Normally I would use the other one that increases gravity. This one decreases it, causing players to float in the air and get stuck. But we're chasing this player down. He's kind of just running loops around us. A little bit annoying, but we finally get the crippling strike. He's running low on stamina now, and Looks like he goes down. I don't quite realize it at first. But we come back in. Unfortunately, a little bit too late. Missed the execution. The shield is still down though, so he's got to be taking hits. I decide now it's time to throw the grenade. Yep, there we go. But, you know, I'm out of stamina myself. I probably should look for a range shot here, but he's actually, I think he's binder sprinted out of the grenade somehow. But we're able to finish him off. And now we've got 2 down. A little bit later, waiting to see if these players come back. They do. See one right here. Again, these players just on the run constantly, trying to say something to me. Not sure what's going on there. So we make a huge mistake here, and we, like a complete bozo, we throw a nade at the player, and he continues running and misses him, and we actually end up running into it mistakenly. So a little bit of a lot of a screw up there. You could say now one of them is shooting rockets at me. So even though we're not playing the best here, we're still alive, at least. We haven't gone down yet. Getting caught on fire. These flamethrower mobs are quite annoying, but you can always bandage that off. We come in with the crippling strike on the guy with the rockets. He hasn't put his shield up yet for some reason. Not sure why. Maybe he's forgotten. But the other player is chasing us with his melee weapon, but he's also on fire. Now we finally land a proper grenade on our opponents. We didn't realize at first that they were caught in it. We thought we missed, but then we realized we can just probably shoot them. Nice clean headshot there, pretty easy. And a cripple to follow it up. Player's gotta be low now, but we're getting rocketed again. I'll switch targets. This guy still doesn't have his shield out for some reason. He instantly goes down there to a few light attacks. We make a huge mistake and chick a wire up enemy bot instead of the wall that we meant to there and escape. So that doesn't work. But now we've got a chain on this player and he goes down. Few misfired rockets, unfortunately, hit ourselves in the face. We're looking for the last player. There he is. The bots have knocked him, and we can finish him off. And that's pretty much going to be it for these players. I believe that was the last time they entered. They each came in twice and died twice to me. And after that, they just decided to give it up, to call it a night. And unfortunately for them, they didn't only lose the loot they found in here, or would have found in here, but they ended up losing the loot they found at one of the other testing stations as well. So pretty good for us. We now have to clean up the rest of these mobs and the waves that spawn. But it seemed like they did most of the work for me. I think this was the last wave or two we had to deal with. Checking for the players, make sure they're not coming back, but little do I know they've already long given up and they won't be returning tonight. Taking out the final mobs in the typical fashion, my favorite way. The AoE explosion, the rockets, right? The best way to deal with these heavies. We even try throwing a grenade to keep them suspended. This doesn't really work out too well because now they won't shoot at me and they won't drop their shields, it seems. Now we've cleared up the room, we can go get the loot at the end and and call it an evening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Great way to end your Monday evening before the Coriella Storm resets everything, get some loot, and go home. GG's. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll catch you in the next one. National Triple 8 out.